Wild on Wave. To the bottom right of the map, we have the MVP Zerg player. He is
MVP Sniper.
18 years old, a former GSL champion, now finds himself in the first round of Code A.
And he's up against the Protoss to the top left. One game two, wants to take it into the next round. He is
STX's Sword, Trap.
Trap.
This is a really interesting map. You know, I love this map. Aquilon is a map where we see so many different games, a lot of timings, a lot of aggression, and
oftentimes late game as well.
Exactly. That's the beauty of this map. There is so much that goes on. You have all these spaces that you can take where you can turtle, but it's really a map that at least us, the observers, gives great games, very entertaining games too.
Gateway.
And exactly. We have maybe the Naniwa build here.
Maybe so, man. It's entirely possible. This build has been really gaining some traction since that series we saw at DreamHack, and it's getting a lot more popular. There's the gas going down as well. Ooh, this is exciting, man. Yeah. This map is maybe the new Daybreak for me. Like the new balanced map that we have that has a lot of different games possible on it.
I feel it's even more awesome than Daybreak. I feel this is the map where you have, in terms of strategies and timings that you execute, the most options.
Yeah, I mean, the third base, for example, has so many different features where you have to destroy the rocks, but you don't have to destroy them to take the base. Then you can also destroy the debris to the collapsible rock tower, I should say.
You have all these timings where you can go for early aggression, you can try to turtle a little bit, go into the late game. It's awesome when different playstyles and builds collide, and that's something that we see on Aquilon more than we see on any other map these days. I mean, think about what we saw when Heart of the Swarm came out. Most Protoss players really tried to turtle here a lot and then went into an Airtos composition, something that we don't see this often anymore. But now we have even Trap following it up with a completely different style from what he's shown us in Game 1 and 2. He's going into the Gateway build, and now he has all this potential for being aggressive and target down a potential third for Sniper.
Yeah, very true. Drone Scout for Sniper means he's going to know about this very, very late.
Yeah. A lot of Zerg players will send out the 10th or the 11th drone to see what's going on. That's true especially against Terran, where you have to get into the main base before there's a wall. Against Protoss you can rely on the Overlord because it's much... Usually you don't have anti-out as a Protoss player early enough to deal with the Overlord. Against Terran, the problem that you face is that an early barracks will result in a Marine that takes down the Overlord. So against Protoss, that tend to open up with Forge first, you can go into the Overlord Scout because there won't be a Stalker. Which is of course a bit different now with the timing that Trap uses.
Yeah, very true. And this is going to be the first Scout he has. He now sees the Nexus with his Lings. He didn't even previously know about it because his Overlord missed it. And now he knows it's going to be an expansion-oriented build here, not a 4-gate or something like that.
Exactly. He saw the Mothership Core, which is of course a huge indicator here. But let's talk a little bit about why this is so different from what we usually see and why a Zerg player has to adapt. Zergs are used these days to face Forge builds, to face an opponent who goes into a Forge first, and this means that the entire tech and also the Warp Gate technology is very much delayed, because you need to build the gateway after you have the Forge, then you go into the Cybernetics Core, and then you start to tech. Yeah. If you open up with a gateway, everything changes. Suddenly there's much more potential and opportunities for the Protoss player to be aggressive. So the timings change and the Zerg can't follow this standard style. He needs to adapt to it.
Yeah, sometimes Zergs who play against this kind of style can get confused by certain gateway timings just simply because they're not used to it. And it's something that you cannot play the same style. If you try to get a fast third and try to drone up like that, and Zealots and Stalkers start running in, you're just going to lose the game.
If you followed Wings of Liberty, why did the Forge first pop up? Why did that happen?
Well, it's because of fast upgrades and it's really defensible.
Exactly. It was a big problem for Protoss players to hold their second base with a gateway into expand or even 3 gates into expand. You always had a huge downside. Either you had a very, very huge economy deficit, or it was very difficult to hold it. Now we have a Mothership Core, which helps you a lot to deal with this. So now players start with Heart of the Swarm, with realizing that they can rely on the Mothership Core and can strengthen their defense. Now they go back into this style, and I really love it. It just shows how the metagame is changing all the time.
Yeah, it's changing and it's growing, and so many different strategies are viable on Heart of the Swarm than were in Wings of Liberty. Phoenix play coming out here to follow this up, and he shows it.
Yeah.
Overlord finds it as well.
Exactly. After this short excursion into the history of StarCraft and how the builds and the metagame developed, let's go back to the game at hand. We have now the Roach Warren coming up for Sniper, who took the third base a lot later than he usually would, which is a direct result of what he scouted, of what he saw. With a Forge first play, he would have gone for the hatch at 420, 430.
Yeah, and Sniper is starting some spores here. +1 comes out, so we are going to see some heavy airplay from Trap. We'll probably see a second Stargate after his third base, and we're going to see Phoenix's first, but then Void Rays most likely later.
Yeah. He has, of course, now the gateway, so they can warp in units and make sure that he has a good defense going. But with the attack upgrade for the air units, you can really see that he wants to commit to this later on.
I'm so excited about this because this is a very different type of air commitment than what we've seen in the past. Fleet Beacon at 8 minutes.
Nice.
He can actually transform his mothership core into a mothership. I mean, I'm thinking that might actually happen in this game. Like, I have never seen someone transform the mothership core ever.
The thing is, we don't see additional Stargates just yet. If he builds those, what you can do on the map is rely on Tempest. Tempest is a great unit, but the timings are very different from what we saw at the beginning of Heart of the Swamp.
This is so weird, man. It's like he's going to go into a mothership to have cloaking or something because he doesn't have any additional Stargates. Yeah, he could get the Anion Pulse Crystals, but he doesn't have enough Phoenixes to warrant that cost right now.
I really don't see the mothership, but it's still something. You know, he also needs it to get the +2 attack upgrade.
That's true as well, yeah, that's very important.
And that's the Tempest. Ah, I like it.
So he's starting very, very early building up those Tempests, and he can poke with them a little bit because he knows there's no Spire. This is really cool. I like this a lot. There's the Spire.
Yeah. You know, Deer is one. Deer, the Protoss player, the Casper player, he is the one guy who was the barcode that I talked about a lot in especially the GSTL. Deer had a style on this map in particular where he would turtle with a lot of cannons, a Forge build still, but a lot of cannons, and then go into Tempest. The Zerg player can't really engage this, and what Deer does after this, being on 3 bases, is he goes into Storm, and he has a composition with Tempest, High Templars, and then just takes his 4th and pushes out. Even if the Zerg takes the entire map, has 8 bases and like 10,000 minerals, it's very difficult to beat this composition. Trap doesn't go for the exact same build, but it's a very similar one. Instead of heading into a composition that centers around the Forge first play, he defends his bases with the gateways. So this is something that we could actually see, especially now since we have the second Stargate coming up.
Yep, here comes the Lings, actually perfectly weighted there. Set a trap for Trap. Oh, and the first Tempest shot may have been seen there.
That was really well done by Sniper. Forcing this third to be cancelled is important for him. He needs to keep the economy low of his opponent.
Yep. And Lings are trying to run in there a little bit, but he's got a nice wall there.
And this is the Build Wolf. He's going for it. Look how many Tempests we have.
Going up, and the only thing he's missing is a Templar Archive.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the options that we have here, because this is going to take a while.
It certainly will.
This is definitely going to take a while. So, okay, why is this a very difficult position for a Zerg player? The Tempests have such an enormous range that it's really difficult to attack here. What you see a lot of players do is try to rely on the Viper Hydralisk composition. But with the zoning out of all those Tempests, it's very difficult to engage with Hydras alone. That's why you add the Vipers. But then a Protoss can go into High Templars and feed back the Vipers. So it's this rock, paper, scissors game that you play. And Sniper goes down a different path. He goes into quite a huge amount of Corruptors now, and I'm not quite sure if he can pull that off.
Well, especially not with the Void Rays coming, it's going to be very hard, especially with the Void Rays plus the air upgrades he's already getting here with Chrono Boost.
But you know, he might just get the Corruptors against those Phoenixes. He might not really know that there is such a huge commitment to Stargate.
Yeah, he hasn't seen, I mean, he could have maybe seen that one Tempest shot that hit his Zerglings. I think he had them selected, so unless he was just microing on the minimap, I think he should know. But, I mean, whether he should or should know, he doesn't react the way we expect him to right now, just adding only a few Corruptors, exactly what you would think. Now heavily committing, going up to 12 now. But Corruptors alone will not stop this army. The Void Rays will destroy those Corruptors, especially with the Phoenix support and the Tempest. I don't think he realizes what he's up against.
The Void Rays will completely obliterate every Corruptor that is there, in addition to also the Tempest that we have, of course.
Well, he's got a really nice timing he's trying to hit here with the Roaches and the Corruptors. I just don't know if this is going to work out like he plans.
Well, this is the time that Sniper chose. He's really going for a timing here, but there is so much and the Corruptors are already there. Did he use the overcharge?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
and
so
now it's gone, so he's going to have to wait a little bit for that.
He has 3 more now, though. And those 3 can already do a lot. And here we go again.
Needs to target the Void Rays on those Corruptors.
And here we go. The targeting is already good. And he's targeting the Corruptors one by one. The Void Rays are coming in. The Photon Overcharge is not ready just yet. But Sniper has to fall back here.
Oh, this is just disgusting. He just destroys the Zerg army. Even the Phoenix is now going to chase down and kill the Corruptors.
He has done the most important part. He held this one timing where he's a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay. Going into a bit of analysis of what's going on here right now, you can really see in the minimap how Sniper takes the entire map with creep. He can now go forward and even place down Spore Crawlers, but there's always the problem of those Tempests zoning out his opponent. This Nexus is actually not him taunting his opponent. This is a Nexus that is designed to be there for the Mothership Core, so that he can so that he can put down a Photon Cannon.
It's really important. It also
not the Photon Cannon, the
Photon Overcharge.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is going to be really cool for him. It serves multiple purposes. It also gives him extra Chrono Boost for those upgrades that take forever. The +3 attack is on the way. He's going to want to get all the way up to +3 armor if he can, and +3 shields. So this is pretty heavy stuff coming out with this Nexus here. He will actually eventually take that 4th base for real, but for now this Nexus is, like you said, just a zoning tactic. And it's so hard for him to do anything with his roaches against this much firepower in the air. And no Zerg units that are anti-air units are very good at fighting this army straight up. So he's going to have to make a composition with Vipers that's very positional. He has to be able to engage the fights how he wants to.
The thing is, it's just like, I have never seen, when you have the 4th base as a Protoss on this map, I have never seen the Zerg win. I would love to see how... And Sniper is approaching this completely different from what I've seen so far. I've seen a lot of games, Hyun, Symbol, Scarlet, Violet, all playing against this style, and I have never seen this beat. But that doesn't mean it's unbeatable. It just means that the answer is not there just yet, and Sniper might have it. He's going into a huge amount of Corruptors right now, and maybe that's what he needs. He's
second Spire as well.
We have him with the 2nd Spire. He can go for double upgrades. We can see now, of course, with the Locusts, a different approach to keep the Protoss, yeah, maybe a little bit contained.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a very, very interesting game right now. A long one, though, too.
It's definitely going to be long. I like the scouting that Trap is doing here. He's making a few more Phoenixes, interestingly enough. I'm not sure exactly he's going to use those for. I mean, it's possible there's a Mutalist transition, which maxed out Mutas could fight this army if there's no Phoenixes, but that's too expensive and a little bit weird for him to do. Very risky as well. He'd have to hide that. There's only 6 Phoenixes out in total right now. Temple Archives is finishing, so we will be making those feedbackers, the High Templar, for the Vipers. And also Storms can be good as well, of course.
The Storms are great. You need the Storms also in case your opponent switches into Mutalisks, which is an option that you don't have anymore once the High Templars are out. Especially not if there's such a big army. Both of them are maxed out. And what you will see right now is Sniper taking base after base, getting the better economy, probably also the better income, but he won't be able to engage into cost-efficient fights. So he has to rely on the strength of the Swarm to just get another round of units out immediately.
Oh, this is so important. He actually breaks through here.
Wow.
The air army was a little bit away.
That is really important for him now. This is awesome for him. Breaking through here is crucial. I can't believe that Trap left himself open here at the right side.
Yeah, he needs to re-wall that instantly. He's actually going to lose a lot of his gateway units trying to defend it. The air army is, you know, preparing for a possible run by at the 3rd, I suppose. That's why he's waiting here.
What I really like about Trap's performance of this build, he's playing it a little bit different, is that he has only 3 Tempests. I feel he could add like a 4th or even a 5th, but with only 3 of them, he makes sure that he is able to zone his opponent out, but he still has the better the better counter against the Corruptors. A very strong Void Ray core to the army.
He's adding 2 robotics right now, so he could start making some Immortals after this as well.
I think he's going to go for a few
Colossi will be great for the Swarm host too. I like the Oracle because that's going to give him detection, and it's also going to allow him to spot the Zerg army. That's probably what we're going to see that Oracle
Trap
for.
is so smart. This is such a great play here. For this map, it's really a very solid strategy and a very dangerous one. You can see why. He attacks at the bottom of the map, but he sends a few Zealots to the top right, and those Zealots, they don't cost him a thing. He has so many minerals banked up. Zealots, they're a dime a dozen, so why not just get them, set them over there? It can only benefit his strategy.
Here we go. He baited out the charge up earlier, and you know what? Now he doesn't have it anymore. But still, Void Rays do bonus damage to Corruptors.
This is exactly what he needed. The corruption is good, but look how fast this army is just melting away.
He can't
for
fight
Cypher.
with the Archons there. With the Archons there, his units are stacking up too much, and now the charge up is ready again.
That's why we have now the Infestors coming in. Fungals are important here, but Fungals and Infestors can be countered via High Templars with feedback.
Very true. Those 3 Archons make such a difference against the Corruptors. Any shot he gets off of those Archons is AoE.
And Sniper's now doing exactly what I said earlier, trying to play the strengths of the Swarm, going into more and more units, building them faster than Trap can rebuild his army. He's trying to engage without the charge-up ability for the Void Rays available. He's always trying to wait for the cooldown. As you said, it's very smart how he engages here, but this is such a close game.
Second Oracle on the way. He needs detection to be able to kill those Swarm hosts. He didn't make any observers from his Robos, and instead making those Immortals I was talking about. He is going into Colossi later as well with the Robotic Scorpion going down. And remember, the bases for Sniper, he lost that base on the right side. His economy is really, really hurting right now, so he cannot afford to lose all of his Corruptors, not even once. Here we go, baits another charge up. This is so smart how he baits these out. I really like it. You know, you lose 2 Corruptors, but it means the Void Ray is not going to be charged anymore for a brief period of time.
He has to. I mean, he has no other choice in this scenario. He needs to do this. If he engages those with the upgrade, with a charge up, then he has no chance. 2 armor upgrades, 1 attack upgrade for the air units. This is what Sniper currently has. Doesn't get any additional ones, which is a bit weird thinking about his 2 Spires that he has.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's concerned about his gas users, knowing he doesn't have another base yet.
I completely agree with you. I think that's the crucial point for him.
And here's that cannon nexus that you made earlier that can actually target down so many different units. A good bungle hits almost every single Protoss unit. He goes for the feedbacks, but it's already too late.
The feedback's already there, but 1 fungal was good. Is that 1 fungal enough? Sniper is moving in. Maybe he can pull it off, but he's down in supply. He's down 50 supply, and those 2 feedbacks against the remaining Infestors, there were the saving grace for Trap.
Yeah. And now he's on the retreat. He's trying to make units. He makes 34 Zerglings. He's desperate here. He has a lot of larvae, but he doesn't know exactly what units he should be making. He's making a Hydralisk Den as well to help against the Void Rays.
He's desperate. He's really desperate here.
Oracle gets taken out here. No more detection. He literally has no detection. The 1 observer just joined in. Oh, this may be just the end of the game. I think it will. GG doesn't even fight it.
Well played. Trap takes it, takes down a former GSL champion to advance to the 2nd round of Code A.
And Sniper is out of Code A.
He's in Code B.
He is now a Code B player. That is hard for anybody to accept. We saw really, really great strategies, though, from Trap, and he won out today. That was awesome play, especially in game number 3, with how patient he was.
This is a variation of this very strong Sky Protoss build that we've been discussing since Heart of the Swarm was released. He didn't do it with the cannons that we see Deer use, a player that has been terrorizing Zergs on the Korean ladder for a long time right now with his barcode ID, but he was doing it with a gateway build, which also forced Sniper to adjust his own build, and it was really smart play by Trap. I really feel, what I would really love to see at some point is a Zerg player trying to counter this with a Mass Mutalisk build. The problem if you go into Mass Mutalisk is always that as soon as Storm is out, you're kind of screwed. Yeah. If your opponent gets the range upgrade for the air units, you also have a huge problem. But I feel if you hit the right timing, you could overwhelm your opponent while he doesn't have as many units out.
Yeah, you know, I would have liked to see that attack that we saw with the Corruptors with a bunch of Hydras maybe instead in some Corruptors, because there were no Colossi at the time, and then he could have maybe broken through. But the Corruptors there against Void Rays just don't do what you want them to do. Even if you bait out the charge, Void Rays by nature do bonus damage to Corruptors.
Whatever you do, if you try to play, I mean, theory crafting, everything that you do has a right counter. The Mutalisk, of course, is also something that is very, very small margin that you can actually pull that off.
Yeah, very rare.
I would be interested to see, that's all. I'm not saying that this is the solution, because right now I have no idea what is, and most Zergs don't. But what you said with the Hydras is something that you could do. Problem is, if your opponent has Storm already out, then you are in a lot of trouble. As it is, Trap defeats his opponent with a 2-1, and we are heading into the 3rd best of 3 after a 5-minute break. So guys, stay tuned. This is WCS Challenger League Korea with Color.